Rain dripped like falling silver from street lamps, painting bruised reflections across the pavement. I pressed my palm against the glass, warmth battling foggy chill. Behind me, silence stretched, brittle, delicate, not the quiet shared by lovers, but the chasm carved between two people pretending not to shatter. Marla, once incandescent, stared ahead, motionless. Her lips, blood-red, flawless, curved slightly upward, not enough to be called a smile, more an echo of forgotten tenderness. Distant jazz hummed from the taxi's aging radio, mixing poorly with tire splashes and muffled horns. Something pulsed beneath her composure, like tension waiting to pounce. I felt it. "Long day?" I asked, pretending indifference. My fingers twitched against my thigh. She nodded, slowly, eyes never leaving the rainy horizon. Her silence wasn't fatigue. It was hiding. I had seen it before, in soldiers clutching secrets, gamblers holding aces, children caught near broken vases. It wasn't new. Just new on her. My name's Calder. Architect. Clean lines, strong structures, obsessive about symmetry. I spent years building a home with her, not just walls but sanctuary. She'd been my muse, storm, gravity. Now she was a stranger with perfume unfamiliar and hands too still. We passed neon diners, shuttered boutiques, shadows scurrying through alleys. The driver said nothing, too old to care or wise enough to pretend. I studied Marla through reflected glass. Her nails, painted obsidian, tapped her knee once, then stilled. The motion revealed a slight bulge beneath her coat. Something in the pocket. Small, deliberate, hidden. Pick something up? I tried again, casual. Her eyes flicked toward me, just briefly. No. Liar. Back when we were honest, she'd trace constellations on my chest, whispering myths she'd made up on the spot. Now her tongue had gone to some colder place, one where myths weren't worth repeating. The taxi stopped at a red light. Outside, lovers kissed under a rusted awning, drenched but laughing. I remembered when we were like that. When every second was discovery, every whisper worship. Now, everything she did felt rehearsed. Her phone buzzed once. She ignored it. My gut twisted. We reached home, a brownstone near Madison, vines crawling up the sides like slow green fire. I paid. She stepped out without waiting, heels echoing on stone. I lingered, watched her vanish inside. I hesitated. When I walked in, I found her in the kitchen, lighting a candle. No dinner. No music. Just flickering shadows. I approached slowly, trying not to seem like I was analyzing her every breath. "What's in your pocket, Marla?" I asked finally, voice low. Her hand stopped mid-reach. She turned, smiled, but her eyes didn't match. "Just lipstick," she replied. "Dropped it earlier." Lie number 2. Something inside me started constructing a theory. Beams, walls, secrets. I knew how to build things. I also knew when something was about to collapse. That night, we lay in bed, back to back, breath shared only by obligation. I didn't sleep. Her fingers twitched once, like they were still holding something. Next morning, I checked her coat. Inside the pocket, a folded napkin from the Moth Club. Place we never went. Gold-inked, creased, stained faintly with wine. On it, a phone number. No name. Just 9 numbers, scrawled in slanted handwriting, barely legible. I took it, tucked it in my wallet. When she returned from her run, she went straight to the closet. I watched from the doorway. She checked the coat. Her fingers dug deeper. Then stilled. "Lose something?" I asked, sipping coffee. She froze. "No, just checking for keys." Another lie. But instead of confronting her, I said nothing. That was the beginning of the unraveling, not the discovery, not the silence, but my choice to watch, wait, observe. That afternoon, I followed her. She didn't take her usual route. She passed 2 blocks, then crossed into a street I didn't know she knew, filled with faded signs, velvet curtains, doorways that led somewhere dark. She entered the Moth Club. Noon. Empty. Closed. But the door opened. I waited 30 minutes. When she left, she was smiling. Real. Radiant. My heart didn't break. It calculated. I returned home before her. Pretended I hadn't noticed her absence. That night, she cooked pasta. Red wine. Candlelight. She wore perfume I didn't recognize. Musky, heavy, intimate. She made love to me like a stranger. Eager, mechanical, eyes never closing. Afterward, I held her. Her head on my chest. Her breath soft, her secrets louder. I knew her body better than she thought. I knew when she trembled for me, and when she mimicked desire. I said nothing. But I started changing things, little shifts in the house. I moved books, switched wine bottles, changed the painting above the mantel. She noticed. Her mouth twitched. But she said nothing. Secrets for secret. The next time she left, I followed again. This time, she didn't go to the Moth Club. She met someone. Tall. Dark jacket. Scar under one eye. He touched her arm. She leaned into him. They didn't kiss. But their fingers intertwined. I took a photo. Later, I printed it. Left it on her pillow. No note. Just silence. When she returned, she found it. I watched from the hallway, unseen. She sat down. Didn't cry. Just stared at it. Then, quietly, she tucked it into the same coat pocket. The same place she'd hidden the napkin. I walked in. "Who is he?" I asked. She looked up. Not guilty. Not scared. "I don't know." Truth? Maybe. Maybe not. Then she said something stranger. "He knew you." I blinked. "What?" "He asked about you." I waited. She stood. "He called you an artist. Said you build things too perfectly. Said that's why I'd leave." Her words were knives made of poetry. I didn't flinch. Instead, I asked, "Are you in love with him?" She tilted her head. Thought about it. Then whispered, "No." It didn't comfort me. Because she hadn't said yes either. That night, I dreamed of earthquakes. Buildings splitting in half. Foundations buckling. And in the rubble, her, untouched, smiling. When I woke, the bed was empty. On her side, a matchbook from the Moth Club. Inside, another number. Another clue. Morning haze crawled across the hardwood, sunlight slicing shadows like blades. She wasn't there. Again. Only echoes of footsteps remained, soft, precise, almost apologetic. The matchbook she'd left behind lay untouched beside my pillow, mocking me with its quiet confidence. White cover. Gold embossing. The Moth Club shimmered faintly, seductive, smug. Inside, a 10-digit number. Not the same as before. New hand, sharper angles, bolder curve. This one was written by someone used to writing secret. I didn't call. I memorized it. Slipping the matchbook into my drawer, I grabbed coffee, ignored the eggs burning on the stove, and stared at the empty chair across the table. Her favorite mug sat half full, lipstick mark faint but damning. Not red, this time plum, deeper, richer. The shade she used when she felt untouchable. I checked her closet. 3 dresses gone. 2 pairs of heels missing. The pink one remained. The one I'd bought her in Florence after we made love beneath stained glass, surrounded by forgotten saints. She hadn't touched that one in months. By noon, I was outside the Moth Club again. Unlike before, the door was locked, lights dimmed. But behind frosted glass, movement flickered. Shadows. A silhouette, tall, lean, predatory. Then another. Slender, graceful, slow-moving. Marla. Their bodies didn't touch, but their distance pulsed. Like they had already touched in every other way. I waited. Rain started, light at first. Then harder, angry, pounding. I stayed until dusk. She never came out. Eventually the door opened. The man stepped into the street. Same scar, same leather. His gaze swept the sidewalk. He didn't miss me. We locked eyes. He smirked. Then walked away. Not rushed, not cautious. Just certain. I followed. He moved like a man used to being followed, weaving through alleys, glancing back only once. We ended up beneath an overpass, trains howling above. He turned suddenly. "You must be Calder," he said. His voice, rough velvet, almost amused. You know me? I asked. He nodded. She talks. Not much. Just enough. My fists curled. Who are you? Someone she doesn't lie to. That cut deeper than any accusation. She's my wife. Was she ever? I lunged. He didn't move. Just let me grab his collar, shove him into concrete. His smile never faded. You won't hit me, he whispered. Because you want to know. I stepped back. He straightened his jacket. She's searching, he said. But not for me. Or you. Something else. Something you buried. I stared. What the hell are you talking about? You built her a palace. But she wanted a bonfire. Then he walked away. This time I didn't follow. I returned home. The silence was deeper. Not empty, filled with noise she used to make. Bangles on doorknobs. Her laugh in the kitchen. The echo of moans from rooms no longer touched. That night she returned. Late. Smelling like cinnamon, wine, something darker, like another man's memory. I didn't speak. Neither did she. She climbed into bed fully dressed. I watched her chest rise, fall. Steady. Calm. Controlled. Morning came too soon. She was already in the shower. I opened her purse. Found a folded photograph. Not of him. Of me. Younger. Smiling. Standing in front of the very first home I designed, before her, before any of this. On the back, scribbled in red ink. He still hides behind his buildings. No name. But her handwriting. Why carry a photo of me now? A relic. A trophy. A guilt offering? I replaced it carefully. At breakfast, I said nothing. She buttered toast like nothing mattered. Then, I'm leaving town for a few days. My coffee froze midair. Where? Montauk. A retreat. Lie. Alone. A pause. Not exactly. I nodded. Didn't beg. Didn't ask. She leaned over, kissed my cheek, too soft to be real. Then she left, suitcase clicking down the stairs. As soon as the door shut, I grabbed my keys. I didn't follow. I returned to the Moth Club. This time, I didn't wait outside. Inside, darkness wrapped everything in velvet. Music throbbed faintly from unseen speakers. Bartender wore a mask, literal black lace. No names were asked. None given. I'm looking for someone, I said. He nodded. Poured 2 glasses. Whiskey. No ice. She said you'd come. I froze. Marla. She called ahead. Said her husband would be curious. He slid me a folded napkin. Room 3. Upstairs. Don't knock. I climbed creaking stairs, each one groaning like it knew my sins. Room 3, door half open. Inside. Candlelight, shadows, silence. A woman sat on the edge of a chaise, legs crossed, eyes hidden by veil. Not Marla. You're not. She held up a hand. She didn't come. She sensed something. From a drawer, she pulled a box. Inside, another photo. Marla and the man with the scar. Clothed. Sitting on a rooftop, legs dangling. She was laughing. On the back, her handwriting again. This is what honesty looks like. I took the box. Left without speaking. Outside, I lit a cigarette. I hadn't smoked in years. My hands shook. That night, I drank until dawn. She texted only once. Think about what you really want. Not what you built. I stared at those words for hours. What did I want? Her? Her lies? Or the truth behind her silence? I returned to our bedroom. Tore it apart. Behind a panel in the closet, I found a notebook. Bound in leather. Inside, sketches. Not of him. Of me. Sleeping. Reading. Laughing. One drawing of me crying. She'd never seen me cry. But somehow, she knew. On the final page. He wants fire, but builds in stone. And beneath it, a pressed moth. Fragile. Perfect. She knew I'd find it. The game wasn't revenge. It was revelation. Montauk. The name burned my tongue like spoiled wine. She said she'd be there. Said she needed space, clarity, stillness. But I knew, There was something crawling beneath her words, something writhing just beneath her collarbone every time I said her name. I didn't follow her out of trust. I followed her out of necessity. 3 hours after she left, I was already behind the wheel, the city fading like bruises in a rear view. Highways stretched like a nervous whisper, trees bending toward secrets. Every sign, every mile marker, screamed her name. I didn't stop once. The inn was quiet, dressed in gray fog. Wind-clawed shingles, salt stained every surface. The woman at the front desk didn't ask questions. A 20 on the counter replaced pleasantries. "Marla Greaves," I said. "Room number." She glanced down, then up again, measured, unsure. "She checked in yesterday." "Alone?" I asked. Hesitation. Then, "No. Of course not. Room 207 faced the water." I didn't knock. The lock wasn't broken, but it surrendered anyway. Inside, wine glasses, one full. One lipstick print on the rim. Fireplace smoldered faintly, casting golden hunger across the room. She stood by the window. Silk robe. Bare feet. Her back to me. She didn't turn. "You weren't supposed to come," she said. "I wasn't supposed to know," I answered. Still, she didn't turn. "You lied," I whispered. "I never stopped." She finally faced me. Her face, flushed. Lips swollen. Eyes unreadable. "Was he here?" I asked. She nodded. "Where is he now?" "Gone." I stepped forward. "Did you love it?" Her silence was the answer. And yet, she stepped closer. No apology. No defense. Just inches. I looked down. Her robe slipped. Not accident. Invitation. My hands moved without permission. Mouth found her shoulder. She gasped, not in shame but in triumph. We fell backward onto the bed, sheets unraveling, fireplace shadows licking walls like voyeurs. I hated her in that moment. And I wanted her more than ever. Clothes tore. Names meant nothing. She clawed my back like she was digging for absolution. I buried myself in her like I was trying to forget. We didn't make love. We broke it. After, we lay tangled, breathless, drowning. She spoke first. "He watched us, you know." I froze. "What?" Her fingers danced across my chest. "He was in the hallway. While we—" I shoved her off. Stumbled up. Rage stormed behind my eyes. "You wanted that?" She sat up, robe sliding down again. "He wanted to see what I was choosing over him." "And what are you choosing?" She didn't blink. "Pain." I backed away. This wasn't love. This wasn't even lust. This was ritual. "You're sick." "Maybe," she said softly. "But so are you." She reached for a cigarette. Lit it with a match. The smell of sulfur hit harder than truth. I left. Slamming the door didn't help. Nothing did. I drove back, radio off, knuckles white. But something waited for me at home. The man. Scar. Jacket. That same smirk. He sat in my kitchen, sipping from her mug. "Hope you don't mind," he said. I didn't answer. "You really think this is about sex?" he asked, leaning forward. "What is it about?" "You." That caught me. "What the hell does that mean?" He stood. "I was hired to test her." "What?" "She wanted to know what kind of man you were underneath all the order. So she built chaos. And watched." I laughed once. Bitter. "She paid you." He nodded. "But not with money. You slept with her." "Only once," he said. "After you didn't come home that night." I lunged. This time, I hit him. Hard. Blood bloomed from his lip. He didn't swing back. He just laughed. "You still don't see it, do you?" I stood there, fists clenched, chest heaving. She didn't cheat because she was lonely. Or unloved. She did it because she thought you were already gone. He wiped his mouth. She kept saying, he stopped touching me with his soul. Then he left. I stood alone. Kitchen spinning. Her perfume still clung to the curtains. Later, I opened the box she'd left under the bed. Inside, photos. Dozens. Every year of us. But rearranged. Each photo had a number, but they were out of order. Like a puzzle. A timeline rewritten. I laid them across the floor. Photo 1, our wedding. Photo 2, our last anniversary. Photo 3, the first time she said she was working late. The sequence made no sense. Until I realized. It wasn't about time. It was about trust. The deeper the number, the deeper the betrayal. Photo 47 was her, in this very house, kissing him. But photo 48? Me. Looking through the window. Watching. I'd already known. On some level, I always had. And she'd known I'd find it all. A final note rested at the bottom of the box. Evening curled around the windows like smoke. The floor remained covered, photos strewn in a twisted chronology of erosion. Our smiles pixelated, our hands drifting farther apart with each frame. They stared at me like ghosts who hadn't realized they'd died. She wasn't back. The bed was untouched. The scent of her lingered, haunting in its patience. I poured scotch into a glass I didn't recognize. Crystal heavy, probably a gift I forgot to unwrap. I drank it slow, tasting years, not malt. The doorbell rang. I didn't jump. I expected her. But it wasn't Marla. It was her mother, Evelyn. Pearl earrings, navy coat, face carved from marble and disappointment. I thought it was time we talked, she said. She entered uninvited. Sat in my chair. Held her posture like a blade. I saw her yesterday, she began. She looked empty. She's been playing a game, I said. No, Evelyn replied. She's been surviving one. I tilted my head. She told me everything. That stopped me. She loved you, she continued. Still does. I laughed. She slept with him. Watched me find it. Left trails like a maze. Evelyn leaned forward. She needed to know if you'd chase her. I stared. She needed to destroy what wasn't real. What she feared was only structure. She pulled a small envelope from her coat. She left this for you. Inside, a key. Oh, rusted. And a Polaroid. A door. Familiar. Not ours. The old studio. Our first space, before money, before fame. Dusty brick, shattered skylights, a floor covered in charcoal and dreams. I drove there immediately. Dusk swallowed the city. Headlights flickered past like fireflies with nowhere to land. The building was abandoned. Boarded windows, graffiti scars. But the lock accepted the key like it remembered me. Inside, silence. Then footstep. She stood in the middle of the room. Barefoot. Hair down. Wearing that pink dress. The one from Florence, the one untouched in month. You came, she whispered. You asked, I answered. She stepped closer. Hands trembling. Eyes unsure. You kept the photo, I said. She nodded. I needed to remember who you were. And him. Was never the point. I didn't move. Then what was the point, Marla? She exhaled. I wanted you to see me again. Not the idea. Not the design. Me. You could have just said it. Her voice broke. I tried. For years. But I became a shape you built around. Not a person. I swallowed. You should have told me. She stepped closer. I did. Every time I stayed silent. That hit harder than any betrayal. I looked at her. Really looked. This wasn't the woman who danced on balconies. This wasn't the girl who used to fall asleep mid-sentence. This was someone raw, unfinished, damaged, real. What happens now? I asked. She didn't answer. Instead, she crossed the room and opened a box I hadn't noticed. Inside, more photographs. But these were new. Taken over the last few months. Me, sitting in the park alone. Eating dinner, distracted. Walking past her in hallways. Staring out windows. Each one captured the exact moment I wasn't looking at her. She laid them out. You stopped choosing me, she said. I looked down. Saw my own detachment mirrored back at me in dozens of frames. Then she placed one last picture on top. Her. Crying. Alone. No lover. No lies. Just her. Why him? I finally asked. Because he saw through my smile. The way you used to. Silence stretched again. But this time it felt earned. "Do you still love me?" I asked. She smiled, but not with her mouth. With her eyes. I never stopped. I stepped forward. She met me halfway. But we didn't kiss. Not yet. There was something purer in the waiting. I reached into my jacket, pulled out the folded napkin. Her eyes widened. "You kept it?" I nodded. "I thought you were running." "I was," she said. "From me?" "No. From who I became without you." That night we didn't go home. We stayed in that forgotten studio. Built a fire in an old barrel. Laid down on old sheets. Not cotton. Canvas. She kissed me like I was air. Like I was every missing piece of herself. I touched her like a cartographer, rediscovering every inch, every sigh. No walls. No masks. No games. Just skin, breath, and maybe, finally, truth. Sunlight broke through the shattered skylight. We held each other. Not like lovers. Not like survivors. But something in between. Before we left, she handed me a letter. I wrote this the night I met him. I opened it. Inside, only one line. "He still builds things without windows." I smiled. "Then let's tear the walls down," I said. That was 2 years ago. We moved out of the city. No blueprints. No plans. Just wood, laughter, and light. Sometimes she still wears the pink dress. Sometimes I still catch her staring out windows. But now? She opens them.